Welcome to this channel. This channel is for education and culture based on historical and scientific evidence. So many of our friends asking me on my new book, Decoding Wing Chun. So why is it need another book? Make more money from you guys? Well, the answer is no. This book is extremely important. This is the first book in English where I explain you what is the meaning of internally train the breath and the body conditioning of Wing Chun 1850. And of course, it's applied to all ancient traditional Chinese martial art. So this is the book that you can see what it is as it is. Instead of we just repeating words like externally we train the bone, sinews, and muscle. Internally we train qi. And then somebody said, no, internally you train breathing. Well, it circle in the surface and nobody know what it is. Look into past 130 years. In Wing Chun, you don't have the informations I present in this book. Not to mention, now, what is from the ancient 1850 teaching now already mapped into sports science, meaning we can track it, whether we got it or not. See, in ancient Wing Chun, Chinese martial arts, it is not just for fighting. There is the health part, the fitness part, and the fighting part of training, of body conditioning. Those are all different. You cannot mix them up and thinking, oh, everything is the same. I just do this and that. It is a completely different world than what people think today, than what you watch in the Kung Fu movie today. Okay. So this is the book. This is the most difficult book to write. But I need to write it because only this way you guys will really like to know what is going on, know what is going on. Now, as in the book, Chapter 1 is Wing Chun 1850, explaining the system. Chapter 2 is internal, external, and breathing. You need to know that clearly. Or else, what are we doing? And then there are 3 types of training. You need that 3 types of training. And the 3 types of training is the qi nourishing training for your health, for recovery. Fitness training for everyday life fitness, and preparing for the strengthening training. Strengthening training is about performance, about fighting. Okay. And of course, this book, we got into the sports science and the training with scientific tracking. Unless we can clearly pinpoint what it is and measure it, there's no way we know what we are doing. And there's no way to know if we do it properly or we screw up and something is wrong, that you need to get help or you need to stop because your body is not supposed to train that way. Okay. So this is what is in this book. It is the ancient in today's language or scientific language, so everybody know what it is. And now, for this book, I share this information, but please do not train as you like after you read this book. You need a coach to train you, or else you can get yourself into problem. Okay. To illustrate that, say the Wing Chun shoot in, the sticking body short strike shoot in. If we model it with the sprinting, the proper handler of sprinting is your physical, like the 6 core element. Remember the other day I talked about 6 core element, where your physical, your mind, your breathing, and breathing have the intra-abdominal pressure, your energy, your strength handling, and the momentum. Sprinting here, you need to be able to handle your muscle, have the proper muscle handling, which is your physical body. Sprinting here, you need to breathe properly. Okay? Because when you're sprinting here, you can get into the place where it is not natural at all. Fighting is never natural. Okay? It is man-made, forceful. So you need to know your breathing, the different type of deep breathing training. Not everybody can do it. You need to have your intra-abdominal pressure, the proper type to brace your body so that you can sprint out. And with that, you'll be able to use your leg strength to drive your body here, your torso here, because this is the most heavy part of your body, your weight. So your momentum is your weight multiplied by your speed. You sprint out. And unless one have all the strength, forget about it. Okay. So instead of, I'm not picking at thing here. I'm just pointing out that it is problem when you stand in this kind of e.g. Kamyongma and then you expect to be able to sprint like that. You see, even if you sprint this way, you know it's problematic already. Okay, you look at that, you see the dissipative, of course, is going to have wear and tear. You see this red thing? And if you do it properly, it shoot directly up. This is what they call force coming up from ground. Okay? It is a really dynamic stuff. And of course, it also involves how does muscle handling the strength and where do you use it so that you can propel forward. Right? Versus this one, you hit the heel, you get to the knee, you're going to screw everything up in dynamic. So this type of training, it never works. You can say that, well, you have a structure, you have this, you get this mind power, blah, blah, blah. But hey, in the real world, in the fighting, since ancients, it is this type of handling. You need to be able to handle your physical body. You need to be able to handle your breathing, your intra-abdominal pressure, meaning you brace your core, your abdomen. And then you have to drive your body weight. And you need to drive it with a proper mechanics or mechanism, or else you get trouble. So for hundreds of years, you know, you can stand with the knee bend, whatever the change, and then somebody come out say, well, you need the structure, and then you need to tilt your tailbone, and then you need to straighten your spine, and you need to have your mind power. Well, sorry, it doesn't solve the problem. Okay, it doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't tell you what the proper thing. And we are not even talking about who is the grandmaster. We're just talking about the basics so that you be able to handling your body. Never train that way. Okay. So if you don't train that way, it's only your hand moving. You can stand in this type of stance and moving your hand. And so when you meet like people like Xi Xiaodong, our MMA player friend, he's going to do this to you. One strike, you out. Look at his fight with Ding Hao, and even with the Tai Chi guy, Lei Lei, or have Jing. Forget about it. You cannot handle this. Okay? So in Wing Chun, there are two types of bracing, two types of abdominal bracing. You need to have bracing here. So one type of Wing Chun bracing is so that you take hit. While in fight, everybody have to take blow. Come on. Okay? There's reality. There's no superhero like Bruce Lee playing in a movie. In a real life, people take blows. You need to have the proper type of abdominal bracing to take that blows. You're striking, you need the abdominal bracing to strengthen your core so that you can perform. Because bottom line is that you have to move your body, your momentum, not just moving hand like that. Okay. And also, in the real life, you need to sprint out. So the bottom line is your physical, your breathing, which is including your intra-abdominal pressure and your core bracing, which is handling your momentum. If you cannot do that, that means you cannot move. You cannot generate that power. You cannot sprint out. And you can stand there. You can stand there like this forever, and then thinking, oh, this hand come, that hand come, like in the movie like this. You see, this is a typical thing. This is the typical thing that you don't move your body. You're just waving your hand. That's why it is called what? Acting. Okay? That's why it is called acting. In the real life, it is your entire body go. Just look at it. That's where you generate KO. Okay? So, you need to have the training in this level, the strengthening training part. Handle your intra-abdominal pressure, handle your breathing, which is irregular and is abrupt, because once you get into the training, in the fighting, so breathing in the fighting. Fighting have a two thing. There's a two zone there. The danger zone, and then this is out of range zone. When you do fighting, you get into the danger zone like this. You get into this zone. Your opponent is going to break your rhythm. Because the name of the game is the opponent will come to break your rhythm. For example, when you pull out, you inhale, people charge in right away. Or before you want to strike, somebody strike you because they look at the timing, they want to break your rhythm. Well, how are we going to breathe there? Okay. So that's why if you don't have this breathing training in the neurosync, chi neurosync, fitness and strengthening, if you don't know about this thing, you never train that thing. This one is natural breathing, natural low abs breathing. Fitness, you also natural low abs breathing. When you do running, like strengthening, training, running, you still natural, have the natural rhythm. But when you get into this, that is not natural at all. You exchange blow, exchange punch. You need to be able to breathe, keep the breath flow. But it's no longer natural. But you have to keep the lower abs breathing and all those stuff, but it is no longer natural. Like if you go running, having a run, even though you run fast, but you're breathing like inhale, 1, 2, inhale, 1, 2, exhale, still a rhythm. There's no rhythm. So somehow somebody, you want to do a punch, before that he punch at you. Well, now what? How are you going to breathe? Okay. Now so the thing is that you need to know the 3 type of breathing. And you need to know that in the wind breathing here, strengthening training belong to lactic threshold and aerobic training. This type of training using windy breathing. The reason is windy breathing is because it make noise, is coarse, and it is always interrupted. Always you have to switch the way how you breathe just to keep yourself be able to continue breathe or flow with your breathing. The minute you stop breathing there, holding your breathing, you're looking for trouble. Okay. So there's breathing. So just look at that. So and then like in a very slow motion I showed before, on your body handling, your breathing, your intra-abdominal bracing, your core is like that. Do a direct shoot in. The shoot in like that is you have to handle that. If you don't train that in a real fight, how are you going to handle those abrupt things? And they go, people, your opponent is going to disturb you. Nobody's standing there like a heavy bag to let you hit him. Okay. So same thing in the recycling momentum. How do you handle your body, your breathing, your intra-abdominal pressure, your core bracing here, and then handle your entire body? Same thing as here. So this one, using the reverse breathing type, you see, it when you shoot out your hand, the body is propelled forward. Okay, you see that? It brace and it just go forward. Okay, and the entire body is shooting forward. For this one, when you do a wrong type of breathing and abdominal handling, you become like that. Okay, I want to shoot. I want to strike. By end of the body going backward, you go straight. You look at people doing what? Doing sets, doing wooden dummy. You always see this type of stuff. When you see this type of stuff, you know that they have no handling in the breathing. They don't have the handling in the intra-abdominal pressure. They do not have the handling in their core, and they do not have handling in their momentum. So you can practice 1,000 years of wooden dummy like that. You will never be able to use it in the real life like this. You will not be able to use it this way because the body is going forward all the time. And the breathing and the intra-abdominal pressure, everything has to, bracing and everything has to go together. So you go look around, you look at picture, you look at video, YouTube, you look at people playing wooden dummy, you can see right away. Disregard of it is beginners or grandmaster. As soon as you see that people, the body go lean backward when your hand go forward, you know it's dead, it's gone. You know it doesn't have it. You know it cannot participate in this type of stuff. Okay? You know it cannot do this kind of stuff. You cannot go into this. You just don't have the strength, don't have the ability to do that. And that's why you do this. You see, look at this. You see this? You see the body is waffling around like a jellyfish. The body is like, you know, like this. It's not doing this. And that's why when you meet somebody like this, it doesn't matter who is your opponent, what style. When you meet somebody like this, you're over. You see how stable their body is using for the continuous strike. You see this? How stable the body, the guy who take it and the guy, all is very stable. Okay? So that's the reality. And of course, as what I said, not everybody can train this. You need a really fit body to train that. And that's why I introduced to this three type of training. And I introduce, you know, like before I introduce you guys to the heart rate. Okay, and like this one is for the training, for the like you train heavy back and so forth, you can do that. And also this time I introduce you something called METS, METS. So you know how high the intensity can you handle. Under 3, METS under 3, everybody can do it. Between 3 and 6, healthy people can do it, but those who have diabetic or heart problem need to have clearance. Above 7, above 6, 7, and those kind of stuff, you must not touch it unless you have a really good health. So things like this is more than 6 to 7, max of 6 or 7. This not everybody is a piece of cake. Well, this is between 3 and 6. So we know what is going on. We know what is going on. And if you want to train fighting, so it's like this. This is 1 minute here, 1 minute here. You go full force, 1 minute. You're coming down, let it rest, and go another. So this is it's called anaerobic here, 2.14 minutes, 1 minute here, and let the heart rate coming down because you take a rest. This is a repeat training, like you do a sparring for 1 minute, and then you relax. This is how you see your heart rate, okay, and you relax, or you just take a rest. This type of stuff. Now, over here is nothing natural, but you have to base on your natural lower abs breathing. And of course, after that, you need to be able to recovery, so that you increase in your HRV. So not everybody can do this, and you know this is damaging here because it is not natural, even though it based really solidly on the natural low abs breathing and so forth. And Wing Chun 1850 actually had to gradually train up here, but not everybody is supposed to be here because this is for performance focus, and you might not want to do that. And if you look at your meds and your heart rate and your medical condition, you might not want to do this because it's too much. Okay. So this book is to give you all the information which is the ancient have. So you know those things exist. Like I just explained to you, your physical, you need to develop that, your breathing, your intra-abdominal pressure, your bracing, and then your momentum handling. And then when you go fighting, it is not weightlifting. In the fighting, the breathing is much faster than in a normal running, spinning running, because your opponent is going to try to stop you out of the blue. That's the name of the game. So it's not your weightlifting. Those are really damaging type of training. Okay. So are you kidding if you say that I stand in EG Kamyangma, that way I do Chi Sao, I do wooden dummy, I be able to do that? You want to fight with those, like just now I show you that those fight like in the Kyokushin, in the MMA, you just don't have the conditioning. And you want to talk about internal? Now I ask everybody, go read this book and ask yourself, what is all the so-called internal today do? Tai Chi, internal, Qi, your body stands straight and everything, like the Lei Lei when the fight Xi Xiao Dong. You cannot take that sprint. Forget about it. So what internal? What Qi? Well, the ancient didn't say that. It is what this past 100 years people is selling snake oil on what they don't know. They never trained that way. We know now by science, not by Hendrik Santos said. You're using science, you're using sports science today, you look at the entire thing, you know, hey, this is the same with make equivalent, okay? How they train, people train in triathlon, in boxing, in running, in sprinting, you can check that, or in fitness. So now I'm using the science, the sports science today, whatever it is legit today, reasonable today, to actually check what the ancient is teaching. That is why this book need to exist. Somebody might not like it, but this is how Wing Chun has to carry on in the West. You cannot keeping selling stories. So like yesterday, I was having these big discussions with many of our traditional Chinese martial art friends and Wing Chun friends. I just brought the point out. I say, okay, I just asked them. I'm not even talking about sprinting outward. I'm just talking about this. I said, how many of you guys doing your wooden dummy this way instead of this way? It turns out that everybody said, we do it this way, not this way. I said, well, sorry. That means you cannot handle your body. Are we going to change now? But then not everybody can do this. Again, it's a strengthening training. You need this is the METS, METS of 6 and above. If your body is not well trained, very fit, you don't want to do it. You can still do this. And you know this is just for fitness. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't talk about fighting because you don't have the ability to carry your body. You see this? Carrying the body. This is just, you just lean backward already. Okay? So, to be really serious, this is the worst book, the most difficult book to write. But I have to do it. So that you know, I leave you guys with this, even if I die tonight, okay? I leave you with this, which is your body conditioning. You must know this. Don't screw yourself up on thinking, oh, this is my interpretation. This is this Sifu said. There's philosophy nonsense, okay? This is what the ancient said, and this is how you can verify with today's science. You want to do something which is safe. You don't want to mess around with something which is somebody's imaginations, okay? So body conditioning. This is what Wing Chun short strike is about. This is what the recovery is about, and the qi and all those flowing meridians things is about. This is what Chinese Kung Fu is about. So I left you with 4 books, okay? If I die tonight, I have no regret for this life. I leave you 4 books. Decoding Wing Chun, Restricting Wing Chun, Wing Chun Inception, and Kung Fu 1560. My job for the ancestor is done. Now, today, tonight. Okay. It's a responsibility. You know, I hate it when it just have something stuck in me and say, hey, you know, you need to have this information out so that people will know what the ancestor do, and so the young generation know what you must not touch. That's why I find the METS, the METS, under 3, everybody can do it in general. Between 3 and 6 is for the fit. But if you have a heart problem or high blood pressure or whatever, heck, you need your doctor clearance, you go into the strengthening part, dealing with your intra-abdominal pressure, dealing with the non-natural breathing. Well, those things you need a coach. So face it, in the fighting, you get blow. You have to take blow. In the fighting, you have to exert your strength. Your breathing is going to interrupt all the time by your opponent. That's why if you look at Kyokushin, you know, when I was training in Kyokushin, you're not supposed to let out sound when you breathe, because you don't want your opponent mark you to know your inhale phase. So you key eye. If you key eye more than twice, people know you're going to take a breath. That's where it come in. And if you take the punch, the blow when you inhale, you just inhale, you take the punch, you're going to cause problem in your body because your intra-abdominal and the chest pressure is going to raise up. It can damage you. Is it something what we want to do, everybody? That's why in the book, I said no. If you have a health problem or anything, don't, you can go watch a Wing Chun movie and fantasy. It's better off that way than thinking that I want to be macho, I want to be like hero. Okay? Well, what we know from the ancient Chinese, we know Bruce Lee's tragedy. Bruce Lee is a tragedy because he's a tragic because he doesn't know the entire system. Bruce Lee is quick. You look at his body of handling his bracing and so forth. So you need to have full picture. And that's why in this channel, I wanted to make it as educations and culture. This channel is not for teaching you how to fight. This is to just teach you, not teach you. This is just to share with you the information that what exists in the past. You want to train, you need to get a coach. Don't just go read my book and then you think you can train that way. You need a coach which is experienced because martial arts is something not for everyone. It's dangerous stuff. As soon as it's going for performance and all this thing, you can hurt people. And so you need to have an experienced teacher to know, hey, you only can train under 3, max under 3. You don't want to get into more than 3 because your body condition, so forth, so forth. Okay. So this is what I'd like to share with you today. This is the point that in the time that are we going to face reality or are we going to sitting down bullshit each other with all this, oh, I have this lineage, this grandmaster. What lineage? What grandmaster? By the ancient writing and by the science today, as what I wrote in the Decoding Wing Chun, you can look at all the videos and everything, see how many actually know all this thing, what the ancient said. If they don't, what grandmaster, what expert, what sifu, what internet? It is a reality. So, as what I always tell we all here, Bodhidharma, when they bring the Zen to China, it said that don't cheat ourselves, don't being cheated by others, okay, and don't cheating others. That's the bottom line. When you want to investigate on something seriously, there are things we must not touch because we just human. We all have our limitations. Well, of course, Bodhidharma went to China and the emperor, who is a Buddhist, come down and say, you see, I built all this temple, blah, blah, blah. And Bodhidharma said, no, there's not Buddhism or Buddhist teaching. It's a Buddhism, Buddhist teaching. Of course, he doesn't like to hear it. So Bodhidharma don't give a damn. Just go to the Shaolin and meditate in the cave for 9 years to waiting for people who really serious want to know what is the Buddha Dharma is. But today, do we do that like a Bodhidharma? No, it's selling bullshit. In the name of Bodhidharma, we are selling bullshit. And that's why you get laughed by our MMA friend, by our boxing friend and everything. Well, because you're selling bullshit. Are you going to get away from that? So this book is to let you know what you get into. Or you need to quit. You must not train Wing Chun. You must not train martial art. You want to limit yourself only for fitness. Why not? Because nobody can live for you. If you screw up your health, how is it? You know those who is poor because they are sick, they cannot work. That is the number one problem of poverty. And I think I tell you a story about, not story, the real record about one of my teacher who died at the age of 40 something. He is the level on the fighting the world tournament type of level. Worked really hard, tried to break his limit. When he died 40 something, his kid is not even 10-year old, two of kids. Okay. And of course, his wife had to work hard. And that is what? 30 years ago already. Don't it is sad? Isn't it sad? Do you want it to happen to you? Is that worth it? This is reality. Okay. So if there's something you must not touch, you must not touch. The reason why I know all this thing is I keeping telling everybody I have diabetic type 1. I have to be really careful for everything what I do. Or else I will not live until today. Of course, in the book, you can see all the hard graphic and everything is me. My record, can see that, oh, this is using Hendrix Apple Watch and everything. I go through it, but I'm not the number one fighter in the world. I have to walk my talk to tell you what is going on there. But I tell you what it is, but if you don't have the help to do it, if you are aging and everything, do not touch those things. I'm the guinea pig. Okay, I'm the guinea pig, but you must take care of your family, take care of your health. Because at the end of life, what matters is your health and your family. The bottom line is I wish everybody live happily. Who cares who is number one fighter? It's like my instructor who passed away 40 something. If I can go back in time, I will stop him to go to Japan. If I can go back, I will stop him to go to Japan. Say, sir, don't. Same thing with Bruce Lee. If I can go back in time to 1964, I will go to Oakland. I'll bring the book, bring all this gadget to Oakland, say, Bruce, you are good. You're a talented guy, but don't walk this path. It's about humans. It's not about macho.